Good evening. This is CTV News for August 13th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Melissa Wright. Thanks for joining us. In the wake of the recent mass shootings in Texas and Ohio, House Democrats are hoping to put pressure on their colleagues in the Senate. The group led by Congressman Steny Hoyer is calling on the Senate to pass House Resolution 8. Supporters say that measure, formerly known as the bipartisan background checks of 2019 and which passed in the House earlier this year, is aimed at keeping guns out of the hands of individuals prohibited from possessing a firearm. Democrats are calling on Senate Leader Mitch McConnell to bring up the measure for a vote.
Is it the solution to all this violence? It is not. But 95% of Americans support it because they believe it is a significant and important step to take in the face of this violence. How many Americans will lose their lives or their loved ones to rampant gun violence before the United Senate takes action?
According to statistics provided by Hoyer, some 9,000 Americans have died from gun violence so far this year.
Congressman Anthony Brown is calling for the U.S. to invest in Central America as the means of stemming the tide of people crossing the border into the U.S. illegally. Brown recently returned from Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras as part of a congressional delegation led by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The visit, which also included a stop at an immigration detention center in Texas, was aimed in part at creating greater economic opportunity.
And Congress has, on a bipartisan basis, made investments in Central America for a number of years. Democrats and Republicans recognizing that a dollar that we invest in education programs, gang prevention programs, drug and narcotics interdiction programs, a dollar spent in Central America goes a lot further than a dollar that this president wants to spend in erecting a wall or enforcing policies that prevent people from coming to the United States. Invest in the front end in Central America, and we won't have to spend nearly what the president wants to spend on the southwest border.
The delegation returned to the states on Sunday.
A new rule could make it harder for low-income immigrants to obtain green cards or visas. The new public charge was announced by the Trump administration yesterday. It will prevent legal immigrants from adjusting their immigration status if they use public assistance programs such as food stamps, Medicaid, or Section 8 housing vouchers. Also, the public charge will bar people from entering the U.S. if they're likely to use these programs. George Escobar with the CASA says the new rule is racist.
This makes an assumption that because they're people of color, they will always be poor and they're always going to be requesting social services, and that's what makes them a charge to the public. It is ridiculous, it is racist in its concept, and we feel confident that, that we're going to defeat this policy.
It's expected to take effect in October.
New details emerge about that restaurant fire in Temple Hills yesterday afternoon. A blaze tore through the first and second floors of country-style chicken and waffles on St. Barnabas Road about 2 p.m., as CTV News reported yesterday. 45 firefighters extinguished the blaze, and all of the customers made it out safely. Officials say the cause was electrical.
This was at the country-style chicken and waffles restaurant in the 4800 block of St. Barnabas Road in Temple Hills. And when firefighters arrived, they did in fact find fire and smoke showing from the front corner of the restaurant. We had about 45 firefighters and medics there on the scene, and it took them about 15 minutes to completely extinguish the fire. Upon investigation, it was learned that a malfunctioning electrical outlet in the ceiling area started the fire.
And the restaurant is temporarily closed.